Hello, welcome back to GS Simple. In this video I will show you how we can improve the visualization of the terrain using a digital terrain model and a hillshade image. This is the ASTER GDEM representing Sicily. In a preceding video I showed you how we can clip the extent of a given area out from the larger DTM. And so in this video we are only dealing with this portion of a larger DTM, and this portion of a larger DTM representing Italy is actually representing only Sicily. Now we will improve the visualization of this DTM using an additional layer which will be an hillshade raster. Just to give you some information about what an hillshade raster is, let's go to this PowerPoint slide, and as you can read from this slide, a DTM does show you the elevation of the terrain, but it can sometimes seem a little abstract. It contains all the information about the terrain that you need, but it doesn't look like a 3D object. To get a better look at the terrain, it is possible to calculate an hillshade, which is a raster that maps the terrain using lights and shadow to create a 3D looking image. And an hillshade image is an image that is obtained from a digital terrain model, and in a hillshade image we are simulating the light of the sun at a given azimuth and at a given direction, in order for us to represent the shadows and the lights on our given area. So let's assume that this raster here is a digital terrain model. To get an hillshade image, our GS software will simulate the behavior of the light coming from a given azimuth and from a given direction, in order to simulate the shadow over our area of interest. So we go back to GS. In order for us to get an hillshade image, we use the hillshade tool of ArcGIS. So we search for our tool, hillshade. We click on the tool. So the input raster will be, of course, our DTM. In this case, the DTM representing Sicily. We give the path a name of the output hillshade raster, so it will be hillshade or something like that. I prefer using HS to keep it short. And then we can insert two values. One is the azimuth and the other is the altitude. So the azimuth will be the direction from which the light is coming. By default, ArcGIS use 350, and the azimuth, of course, is expressed in degrees. So, as the ArcGIS help is actually saying, azimuth angle of the light source, the azimuth is expressed in positive degrees from 0 to 360, measured clockwise from north. The default is 350 degrees. And the altitude is the angle which is representing the altitude of the sun above the horizon. So in this case the default value will be 45, and so you can play around and you can change and modify these values according to the type of terrain that you have or according to your specific needs. So we can click OK. The tool is running. So eventually we got our hillshade image, and as you can see, in this image, the light coming from 350 degrees and coming from an elevation above the horizon of 45 degrees is actually used to simulate the light and the shadow across our region. So now what we can do to get the most out from the digital terrain model from the hillshade image is to keep the hillshade image on top of the DTM and give some transparency to the hillshade image. So we right click on the hillshade image, we go on this display tab, and we can choose, for example, 70% of transparency. Maybe we can play around with the transparency settings. Maybe we can give less transparency to the hillshade image. Let's try 60%. And so you can see that in this way we will have a more detailed outlook of the feature of the terrain thanks to the hillshade image, but at the same time we may have information about the elevation of the terrain thanks to the digital terrain model that is underneath our hillshade image. So that's all for now. I'll see you in the next video. Please give a thumb up and please subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.